About enough. Vietnam closed another 86 million bank accounts a week after Thailand froze 3 million bank accounts. And you guys want to know the whole reason why they're doing this to people? It's because people aren't trying to comply with this whole digital ID thing. Basically, they're trying to digitize everything. They're trying to digitize your identity. They're trying to automate and digitize the jobs and the workforce. They're also trying to automate and digitize.
It's happening. It's happening as we speak in Thailand, Vietnam. It's getting ready to come to the UK. Going to go through Europe. It's going to roll through Canada, rolling through South America, rolling through Asia, Australia, New Zealand. It's going to come to the US probably in the late 20s. It's happening. You need to protect yourself. I'm going to show you some forums and some things you can do. If you're a UK person, you're really going to want to listen to this. If you're a Canadian, you're really going to want to listen to this. I'm going to show you a few things to opt out of the digital ID. Yes, you can opt out, but it is very tricky and very difficult. It's not something the average person is going to be able to do. I'm going to give you some suggestions. I'm going to show you a couple of places you can go, and we're going to look at some videos here because this is some really important stuff, and this is absolutely going to destroy a lot of people privacies, freedoms. They're bringing back slavery, full stop. Everyone I'm talking to bringing back slavery. You may see that my background's a little different. That's because I'm here in Washington, D.C. My house in Vegas is being remodeled for the next 6 months. So I thought, you know what, I'll spend 6 months in DC, grab the team, put up stake here, go back and forth. Next year, we're probably going to open a second office here in DC anyway, because so much is happening between now and March. And so we are going to make this stuff happen. So many things are happening right now. We're going to break this down. Buckle up. I'm going to show you what to do next, because now it's all just going to start falling into place. They are going to suppress you. They are going to start blacklisting crypto like I talked about in my video. So if you're not ghosted, you need to get ghosted immediately. Otherwise, your stuff's going to be blacklisted. You're not going to be able to use crypto. You're not going to be able to work without a digital ID. You're not going to be able to leave your house. Pretty soon, you're going to have smart meters and smart locks that only work with your social credit score. This is wild world we're going into, and this is the kind of stuff that would make George Orwell blush, because
the financial industry, and it's happening in Thailand, bro. Like, this isn't just some Western concept. You often see people talk about, like, is the end times only happening in America? No, they do it in these other countries where media isn't that popular, because they can get away with it much better.
I had a client recently just have this happen to him in Thailand. He just left indefinitely. He's gone for good. Luckily, he had institutional accounts, so most of his stuff is protected because he's ghosted, but all of his personal money, he just gave. He just like, no, I'm done. I'm not going to do it, because the amount of stuff they wanted from him was disgusting. And this is going to be happening to you soon. This is why you got to protect yourself. He only had like 4,000 or 5,000 in his personal accounts, and he just walked away from it. He's like, I can't do it. But thankfully, all of his businesses, all of his assets, tokenized, all of his stuff's through the digital asset trust, everything's set up for him. So he's good. But a lot of people are just going to lose everything. They're going to take it from you, or you have to go through an unbelievable amount of stuff to get it back. And before you know it, this is going to happen in your neck of the woods.
The government has seized 86 million bank accounts. Why? They want people to put their biometrics or tie their biometrics, which is
comply or
face
die,
print, thumbprint, to their bank accounts, and they refuse. So they just seize their accounts.
Yep.
They're not giving them an option to go and get their money. The only way you can access your money is you have to give your biometrics.
Yep. And they just spring it upon you one day, like this is going to happen here in the old UK. A lot of people think, oh, that's in the third world, you know, some random. Well, Thailand's not no third world. Thailand is literally the creme de la creme for the laptop lifestyle up until the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm seeing people flee Thailand that are from the Western world. But up until 2 weeks ago, I've seen all these affiliate marketers and all these crypto bros and stuff. I mean, Thailand, you could live like a king for like 5 or 6 grand a month. For 10, 15 grand, 100 grand, you'll literally live like you run the country. Now, it's all over. It's all coming to an end. And it's going to just start rolling out. Listen to this windbag.
We'll make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament.
Hey, how can you make something mandatory for a right? You have no rights. I've told you, they are bringing back slavery. Rights don't exist. You have some base level privileges that they give to you, a government that you fund. And I'm talking every government in the world. You have something that is a right. I mean, what kind of oxymoron, what kind of absolute moron says the word right and says the word mandatory in the same sentence? Just want to put that out there.
Let me spell that out.
No, yeah, why don't
you will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's a simple.
And this is what happens when you give up your guns, folks. Australia, Canada, UK, all of Europe. This is what happens when you this is why US will never give up your guns. But unfortunately for us, we're going to be fighting robots soon. But that's my last video. Watch this. Watch this.
You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. Our immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. And that is why.
But so let me get this straight. You open the door, you let in millions and millions and millions of people, and then you say, you know what, Brits? We're gonna have to do this for you, for your protection, for your safety. Woo! We're gonna have to protect you, and this is exactly how we're gonna do it.
Today, I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament.
Make no mistake, it's going to start, it's going to be inside you soon. And I'm talking about, there was a mark in some book, I can't remember the book. This is going to line up perfectly. I do not care what your religious beliefs are. It's going to line up perfectly with this interesting 2,000-year-old book. But I digress.
Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
And to think, I was hoping I could work in the United Kingdom. What an absolute joke. The UK says it will introduce digital ID cards, reviving a cancerous idea is what it is. An absolute joke. British citizens, permanent residents will have to produce a mandatory digital identification card in order to get work. Well, there's good news. There's good news. We're going to be able to look at some options around this absolute steaming pile here. Britain to introduce compulsory digital ID for workers. Once again, the workers are the one. You pay all the taxes, you're the first one to get your head kicked off. This is for workers. You notice how they keep drilling. Do you understand what's happening here? Do you think any of the elites are getting this piece of monkey trash ID? No, none of them. Ever. It is for thee, it is not for we. They're going to drill this down your throat. Worker, you need to go out there and work. We need all your money. You need to put your money that we created as thin air in our bank account so we can regulate it, we can invest it, we can do what we want with it, we can tell you if you can have it. The UK recently just told people that paying in cash is a sign that you're possibly a terrorist. They just lowered the amount you can take out to $200 to $500. And in fact, even here in the United States of absolute comedy shows, you don't even have to fill out a form in the US till you hit over 10,000, which is an archaic rule. At the time that law went in place, 10,000 you could almost buy, you could pretty much buy a new car with. Now 10,000 you can't buy anything with. And most banks are required to flag you at 3,000 to 5,000 in a personal account. 3,000 to 5,000. Ask you, what are you doing with the money? What are you going to do with it? Go through a checklist. Were they shady? Were they kind of nervous? Were they moving around a lot? Are you kidding me? It's my money that you're leveraging 100%. I'm making no interest on. You're securing it with the FDIC that doesn't even have 2% of the money available if something happens, and now you're questioning me to take out $3,000? I barely buy groceries for the month with $3,000. I can't even pay you pay groceries, a water bill, a power bill, and maybe your car insurance, and it's $3,000. What are we talking about? This is where you are. It's for you, not for them. It's for workers. Workers need to comply. You need to fall in line, slave. You fall in line immediately.
ID cards are not a new idea. They were compulsory during the war and not abolished until 1952. The idea was revived in 2005 by Tony Blair's government.
Look into the mirror.
The then Home Secretary was seeing how these biometric cards would work. They were supposed to tackle illegal working and establish entitlement to public services, but the scheme faced technical challenges and political opposition and hadn't been implemented by the time.
You know who doesn't have a problem with illegal immigrants? Most third world countries. Not because people don't want to go there, because they have walls and gates and military and consequences if you actually go there. I couldn't imagine going to someone else's country, not speaking the language, demand they cater to me, giving me free money, free housing, demanding all this. Are you kidding me right now? All these people saying, oh, you should let anybody in no matter what. Would you let anybody into your house no matter what? What is happening with this stupidity? It's unbelievable.
Time of the 2010 election, when the Conservative Lib Dem coalition scrapped them.
And now the idea has been revived under this Labour government. Ministers have been looking at a digital ID scheme in Estonia in Eastern Europe.
Scheme. They've been looking at the scheme. Of course they have.
Which is used to access public services. And they believe...
Again, public? I mean, what is happening? Who pays for the public services? The public, the workers, the middle class. This will not affect the elites. But you can also make it not affect you, so I shouldn't be that mad. Again, a lot of my clients, the ones who are ghosted, there's just basically, if you're already a client, we're already fixing this for all of our clients in Ultra Ghost. If you're not, you're going to want to sign up immediately while you still can. Again, we already talked about we are going to be sunsetting that because it's just going to be too expensive to do once all this stuff goes into place. But they're doing this right in front of your eyes. They're doing it right in front of your eyes. You're going to need to indemnify yourself, and you're going to need to be able to set yourself up outside. You can still live in the UK and do this. You can still live in Canada, or most of Europe is doing this. It's part of Eastern Europe isn't, but other places. But you're going to need to take, you're going to need to set up. United States, you're going to be fine right now. Australia, you're not going to be fine because you're part of the crown. Oh, the crown. They're going to spread this like the plague out to all the crown countries. They're also doing it in North Africa. They're not talking about that, but this is coming in North Africa, not Egypt, but all the other North African countries. It's gonna roll out all through the Indo-Pacific. This is ridiculous.
If that attitudes towards ID cards have softened as concerns about illegal immigration have risen. The government's direction of travel has been clear for some time. Earlier this month, Keir Starmer told the BBC why he thought they were a good idea.
I'm determined to stop people making that crossing across the channel and to get people out of our hotels. And therefore I am looking at ID cards or digital ID, because we do need to look at the pull factors.
The Prime Minister believes this is an important way.
Here's what you should do. The military meets that boat and moves them along because it's an invasion of your country. Now, I'm not saying you need to meet that boat with violence or force right away, but I am saying that that boat should never touch your shores, which is a very easy thing to do. Me and a few of my buddies could take care of that, let alone I know the British military is completely and utterly worthless. The United States has trained some of the British military, and they said it's just completely embarrassing at this point for what this country used to be. And it's not a dig at the British people. It's a dig at your government and the pathetic situation that your country has put you guys in. But this is kindergarten stuff to take care of. They did this on purpose to enslave you. They can, even the British government, they literally can take this crap. It would take them 5 minutes to fix a solution. But instead of fixing it for you, they are going to make you the patsy, you the pawn.
Weapon in his armoury to tackle illegal immigration, but his idea is creating clear blue water between government and opposition.
Keir Starmer scrapped the Rwanda removals plan without having any other plan in place. He said he was going to smash the gangs. He hasn't done that. Digital ID cards is not going to smash the gangs or stop the boats.
I fear this is a bit like what they tried to do before, where it's authoritarian, where it's centralized, where it's controlled by this.
You think it's exactly what it is. Full stop. Across the board. That's exactly what's going to happen. White House tells agencies to prepare for massive layoffs ahead of potential government shutdown next week. Now, I've been getting asked at length, hey, what is happening in the crypto industry? Why is it tanking a little? Is this the big pullback you've been talking about? No, this is not the pullback I've been talking about. This is only just a temporary fear in the market. Same thing you're seeing in the bond market, same thing you're seeing in the stock market, same thing you're seeing in the housing. It's because the United States reverses position a quarter point on the interest rates. And also, we are dangerously close to a government shutdown next week, and both parties are digging in, the Democrats and the Republicans. So That's what's happening here. This is not the big pullback. You are going to see a massive pullback. Think of, when you see this pullback, you're going to know it. Think of when the water regresses before a tidal wave. That's exactly what's going to happen. All of a sudden, the tide goes well. I actually grew up, believe it or not, I grew up on an island, right? And I remember the tides going, we didn't have any real legitimate tidal waves, but I remember the tide going way out there. You could just go way out further than you've ever gone before. When it comes back with a vengeance. That's what's going to happen. And I've talked about this in depth in my last couple of videos. You can go check those out, but you're going to see the massive tidal wave. This is just a pullback due to stupidity, just because of everything that's going on in the government. And that's really slowed everything down this year, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. Whenever the government is all tied up and slowed down, it actually means they can't just completely mess things up for the people like Starmer's trying to do in the UK and like they're doing in North Africa right now. So, this is particularly what's happening. The White House talks about these agencies. It's all just a ploy to shut people down. It's all just a ploy to lay people off. It's another distraction, just like the files are a distraction. There's nothing that, imagine if you committed a crime and I told you in 7 years we're going to investigate. With all these files right now, with the island and everything, and that creepy dude who allegedly ended himself, no, there's nothing there. Okay, it's been 7 years. Anything that they wanted to delete has been gone. It's gone through multiple presidencies, multiple FBIs, multiple CIAs, multiple NSAs. Get real. There's nothing there. This is all just distractions at this point, unfortunately. Now, a lot of people have asked me, is the solution becoming part of the world government programs? No, that's the antithesis of a solution. That's the worst idea you possibly can do. Here, let me explain. So you see some of these citizens, these organizations, and these are not officially recognized organizations. These are just basically foundations that are trying to convince you that you can be a world government citizen. So look at this one. It even has documents. These documents, if you go in your bathroom right now and you look next to the toilet, there's probably some toilet paper. That's about what these documents are worth. And the reason is these are not official. In fact, you could argue that these are actually fake documents, but these are not official documents. What it is they're trying to say, you can go under the world government laws and the laws of the world. There are no laws of the world. There's no world government. All this stuff doesn't actually exist, okay? You need to understand. I'm going to show you what to do here in a second. I'm going to talk to you about what to do. But none of this stuff actually exists. There is no world government like that. And if there was, I can assure you it wouldn't be ran by some random dude who's profiting off fake documents on the other side of the world and send you. So you imagine you show up and you say, I'm a world citizen. If you're without a country, you will be detained indefinitely. It's why most countries, all legitimate countries, won't let you become an expat until you have the next country, because you can't actually operate in this system without a country. This is not a James Bond movie. That doesn't exist. And so you need to understand what you're doing. So buying all this stuff, remember when they used to sell you land on the moon, right? I know people who have certificates and stuff like, yeah, I bought land on the moon. Unenforceable. You don't own land on the moon. You don't own land on Mars. You didn't buy your grandma a star for her 50th wedding anniversary. This is just some idiot selling stuff. You guys have all seen this, okay? This is the pet rock of stupidity. So don't worry about any of that. None of that's real. None of that's actually gonna happen. You don't want to become part of this world government. If the world government is issued, it's basically going to be in a format through the United Nations, which you do not want to happen. That literally is the end times. Luckily, the United Nations hates each other and the world's never been more divided. So we are still, people say, oh, the one world government's going to happen in 2030. I mean, that would be a unique magic trick because, frankly, the governments have never been more divided. You just saw Trump on the UN stage roasting and lambasting the entire government, frankly, the entire government. So I've talked before about how I have my second passport in Nevis, St. Kitts, and I've talked before about some other offshore options. Now, Nevis Island administrations, so you need to indemnify yourself so you don't have to have this digital work ID because you can run everything through your ghost business. But if you're living in Canada, if you're living in UK, if you're living in Australia or New Zealand, if you're living in Germany or France or Spain, if you're living in Italy or Belgium or any of these places, Ireland, this is really going to start to hit you hard as these start to roll out. Now, the EU is setting up their EU digital ID. Obviously, the UK is going to be independent. Canada is going to be independent, but run through the Crown. Australia, similar situation. So these will start to roll out in 26. Not in January of 26. It's going to be a little bit of time, but these are going to start to roll out. Again, in the beginning, people are going to rush out to get them, but the smart people are going to wait to the very end, and they're going to set themselves up outside of it. But you want to set yourself up still while you can. And Nevis is an option. Now, if you run this directly through your digital asset trust, all of your money and all of your employment can be outside. Canada is trying to set some things up to where you're taxed globally like the US. And the only way outside of that's a trust. And so that's why setting stuff up that is not revocable, not in country is so important, which is what we do for all of our Ultra Ghost clients. But also, you can see here that it was, so if you look at some of their documents here over on the Nevis site, you can, there's a few amendments that happened, Nevis limited liability companies and for Nevis International Exempt Trust ordinances. These are two of the ordinances we use. We also use Nevis Insurance Ordinance when we're doing stuff with term life. Now, you're not having to run everything through Nevis. You're not having to go through Nevis. You're not even ever having to set foot there. But you do need to indemnify. You do need to have the virtual office set. And you do need to have a what's called, so similar to an authorized agent, it's a pass-through agent that can actually handle, unlike a correspondence agent, like a registered agent or a indemnified agent like an authorized agent, you're going to need to indemnify the company on your behalf outside of said soil, right? So it's going to be the land of the soil. None of the money is being made inside the soil. So for you, especially like business owners or people who are trying to set your assets up outside, because this isn't just going to be for work. This is going to be for taxes, cap gains, all of these things. You need to keep everything outside there. So if you're still going to live on any of those places, any of the Western world except for the United States, this is not happening in the United States right now, which is kind of interesting, but eventually it will. I mean, there's a lot of other bad stuff happening in the U.S., unfortunately, but this is predominantly happening outside the U.S. right now. Being able to indemnify everything and being able to set everything up through a specific ordinance is very important. And then you can certify it. You can certify it outside on international soil through your DAT. And on that trust, then you can set up through the authorized agent, and then you can also have an intermediary, which will be through your virtual office. And so those two additional steps have to happen. Again, if you're in our Ultra Ghost, we're going to set all this up for you. Just, like we always do whenever things change, we always take care of all that stuff for the Ultra Ghost clients. So, but if you haven't done it yet, you can sign up below. If you are doing it yourself, make sure you add those steps. That is very, very important. You need to file all of those documents. If you don't, then everything will be seized. So you'll be completely screwed. But yeah, so if we come here through this is the International Exempt Trust. So we have 5 different ordinances here and the power of attorney. So they don't have any ability. They don't have any ability as far as generalized business decisions. And obviously everything is going to be through the specific trust, but this just allows you to be able to work outside of soil. And this just allows you to be able to set everything up outside of country, which is really important. And it's a question I get asked a lot. And so international exempt trust ordinances, that's what these are. And that's what we have been setting up for all of our Ultra Ghost clients. And we repatriated ordinance in 95. That's right here. This is where they really set up the core of the ordinance for international operating agreements and international trust, which allows you to do on and off ramping, not just in crypto, but as far as earning money through your business in a specific country, but running your money specifically through your holding company. It's kind of like how Apple runs in the United States, but is able to bring in money legally outside the U.S. in places like Iceland. And the U.S. has some of the strictest tax laws in the world. In fact, the U.S. has the strictest tax laws in the world. It's actually a lot easier to do in places like UK, places like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, most of Western Europe, except for Poland. Poland is a sticking point, but outside of that, it's actually easier to do. So this gives you a lot of flexibility, which is really, really important in my opinion. And you're going to see, especially with crypto, you're going to see the value of a lot of this, because there's a lot of people who are trying to earn money in these countries where they can't leave. Maybe they have kids in school. Maybe they have too many kids to be a digital nomad. Maybe they want to stay in their country. They like their country. They just don't like how it's being operated. This gives you that flexibility. You won't be able to have a local job at the local office, but you will be able to run everything through. And there are 1099 contractors where you can do this. So that's another cool thing, is even if you have a job, a lot of people are starting to run as a 1099, which I've had probably more clients do that over the last 3 years than any ever in the over 10 years we've been doing this. So that's another good option. And then, another thing with crypto, it works perfectly with your DAT, and it works perfectly with your indemnified 3 set, which again, we've talked about in countless videos. I mean, I'm not going to beat these horses because I went through in depth in that in some of my old videos. But, we're seeing crypto down a lot. This is unfortunately not the regression and the tidal wave that we've talked about, but when that happens, man, it's gonna hit big. Some of you guys I've had a bunch of people ask me what I think XRP, new partnerships, they're doing stuff, they're making moves. Do I regret selling my XRP? No, I do not regret selling my XRP, and I never will. Listen, if XRP goes to 100 tomorrow, I'll be happy for the people. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. I've been in this stuff for 10 years. I set myself up just fine. So the reality is, I don't care. If it goes to 100 tomorrow, that'd be great. But statistically, it's not possible. It's not going to happen. And the U.S. isn't getting ready to run anything through XRP. People say BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. No, because the ETFs. Again, XRP has 9,000 partnerships, customer agreements. Hasn't done anything. I mean, it's $2.78 as we sit here. It is up 0.59%. But if you dig into XRP, and again, I'm not just going to sit here and beat on XRP all the time. It's had its day, and it's really kind of done its thing. It's been around forever. Also, if you guys read the fine print of these partnership agreements, one thing you need to keep in mind, and this is one thing that I see a lot of people miss, most of these partnership agreements are for Ripple. When Ripple succeeds, it doesn't matter for you if you're an XRP holder. And that's another place where a lot of people don't fully... I've noticed a lot of people who are in XRP don't understand XRP and don't understand the difference between XRP and Ripple, which is a public company. And a lot of the benefactor and a lot of the backroom benefits go to Ripple. The XRP holders don't actually partake in a lot of things. And a lot of people talk about these secret ledgers and stuff. You've got to be kidding me. You're just being sold a bill of lies for the last 7 or 8 years. It's going to go to 100. It's going to go to 500. It's going to go to 1,000. It's going to go to 5,000. No, it's not. Again, I think it's probably going to go to $10 in the bull market. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it goes to 100. I know a lot of people in XRP. I hope it goes to $100. But statistically, it's just, again, a lot of people don't do math, and they've been sold like there's this super secret backroom CIA ninja XRP that's getting ready to take off, and we've seen glitches on the mainnet that show XRP at $5,000 a token, and we're going to be able to take over. Dude, no, the government is not. I'm not even going to go down there. People actually think the government's going to give control of currency to some random crappy company that they just got done investigating. They wanted to put Brad Garlinghouse in jail. This is not a real thing. They can make their own tokens and own coins. They have the smartest people in the world. They don't need XRP for nothing. Doesn't add any value, and it's outdated tech on top of that. All of it. So again, I hope XRP goes high, but it's not gonna. It's not good. And here's the. This, another thing. I mean, man, I had to. If I see, I've gotten. I wouldn't say thousands. I would say 400, 500, 600 messages over this. Oh my gosh, I'm getting everyone who's ever lived asking me my opinion on this. look, a lot's happening. Well, here's what I know for sure. A father and a husband passed away. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, I don't care. I think both parties are crap. But obviously he was very outspoken, very talented young guy. I must be old as heck if I'm calling a 31-year-old a young guy. 40,000. So he was a very talented young guy, and it was a shame. It was absolutely a shame. Unfortunately, I went down the rabbit hole like a lot of you. I spent more time than I'd like to admit down the rabbit hole. I've seen a lot of footage that I know there's a lot of people talking about it. I'm not going to speculate because at the end of the day, it doesn't add any value. But you guys are going to see a lot more things like this. Hopefully not assassinations, but you're going to see a lot of distractions. I'm not saying he was a distraction. I'm not saying he was not a distraction. I'm not saying that everything in this. I've talked to a lot of people privately on what I think. I'm not going to say it publicly, obviously, but there's a lot of shady stuff there. I could go on for hours on what I actually think, and it obviously has nothing to do with this complete joke of a story that the FBI is. But it's like the FBI forgot what country they're. I mean, every 12-year-old who shot a 30-06 knows exactly what a 30-06 could blow the left side out of a deer from 200 yards with iron sights. It's a sniper shot. I gotta stop because this is no 200 yards. I grew up, that was our yard. We were shooting cans. Boo! Are you kidding me? I mean, where do you think you are? This is the United States of America. Everyone and their brothers recreating this shot because it's a basic rookie shot. I could have made that shot when I was 12. I could make that shot half asleep from my bed right now. And that's not bragging. There's 30 million people who are like, yeah, me too. And I believe you. It's a 200-yard shot with a 30-06. Not to be gruesome, but there would have not been a head on the shoulders. Oh, the Man of Steel stopped it with his neck. Get out of town. I unassembled my gun, forgot my screwdriver, reassembled my gun, and left it in the woods. Get serious, dude. Are you for real? Be so serious. That's never going to happen. None of that happened ever. We got a guy who confessed to doing it, yet he won't confess to doing it. We got no pictures or videos of him, although we have pictures of videos of everyone else. Anyway, I got to stop. I got to stop. So yeah, this gets, and this is a thing, man. You're going to see a lot of distractions. You're going to see a lot of stuff happening. You're going to, we've got the sale of TikTok coming, which obviously is going to end that app because it's going to be ran by the Middle East mafia at that point. And I'm not talking about who you think I'm talking about either. It's again something I would say offline, but I can't say online because suppression. I'm already suppressed enough. You're going to see a lot of this stuff. A couple of things that you need to look for. You need to look for that tidal wave effect. It's going to happen big. I'll be talking about it. Other people will be talking about it, but you need to keep an eye out for that. A lot of people right now are asking me, when's the time to buy? Right now, dollar cost average. Dollar cost averaging is very, very important in my opinion. Don't look for this perfect absolute time, because if there was a perfect time, everyone would buy, and that would make it a not perfect time. You need to understand how markets work. It's the ebb and the flow. It's like displacement in a cup, right? You take a cup, it's half full. I start putting stuff, it's displacement. So if there's a perfect time, everyone's going to jump into that perfect time. It'll no longer be a perfect time. It'll be a horrible time, like that. So dollar cost averaging is hard to beat. I'm still dollar cost averaging every single week right now, and I have been for years in a lot of things. So, now, today, tomorrow, yesterday, the next day, don't look for this perfect entry point, because just as easily, I remember people looking for the perfect entry. They're like, when gold gets to 1,500, I'm a buyer. Well, now it's 3,700. You missed that, didn't you? And it's probably never going to be 1,500 in the foreseeable future in your lifetime. Again, in fact, I see gold probably being at 10K by 2030. So yeah, now's the perfect time to buy gold. I know you think, well, it's 3,700. That's because the dollar's lost a lot of value. That's because every other currency's lost tremendous amounts of value. So keep all that in mind as you go through this. That's a very important situation and a very important scenario. Don't just get all connected and tethered to a specific price that you made up in your head. That's not how these things work, and that's not going to benefit you whatsoever. That's why dollar cost averaging and taking the emotion out of it. You got to not be emotional about money ever. When it comes to these investments and when it comes to these things, that's not what you need to do. That's when it comes to investing in these coins. If you're looking at this daily, you're going to drive yourself mad. 90% of day traders I've ever met lose most of the time. most of the time you're going to lose. Keep that in mind. Don't be looking for this perfect time, or it's never going to happen for you, because Bitcoin may be 109 right now. You're like, I'm going to wait till it hits 80. Yeah, buy at 80, but also buy at 109 and buy at 110 and buy at 130 and buy at 85. Because the thing is, it's not going to be long until Bitcoin is 250. It's not going to be long until Bitcoin's 500K. It's not going to be long until Bitcoin's $1 million. And then you're going to be like, oh man, I wish I would have bought at 109. It's the same thing. I wish I would have mortgaged everything I've ever owned, every material possession I've ever had, every asset I've ever had in my entire life back in 2012 and bought everyone does. But hindsight's 2020. So right now it's real easy to say, man, I don't want to buy at 109, I want to buy at 80. But that's going to seem inconsequential when it's 250. You're not going to care that it was 80 or 109 because it's 250. It's going to seem like it completely doesn't matter when it's 500K. You're going to wish you bought it 200K. There's going to come a time, you think it's a lot right now at 109. You think Ethereum's a lot at 3,900. You think even XRP is a lot at 279. There's going to come a time where you wish you bought XRP at 279 because it's going to be $8. There's going to come a time where you wish you bought Ethereum at 3,900 because it's going to be 10K or it's going to be 12K. There's a time where you wish you bought Bitcoin at 109 because it's going to be 500K. So keep that in mind. Solana, 201. I keep hearing people, when Solana gets back to $50, I'm a buyer. Well, what about when Solana's $1,000? And if you would have bought right now today, you would 5x your money when it's 1,000. And it's gonna sail past 1,000 in the bull run, obviously. Solana is a huge player, love it or hate it, it's a fact. But it's 200. So to get a 5x right now on 1,000, which is going to be the entry point for Solana, right? So let's say you put 10K in Solana, it's worth 50, like that. But where's Solana going to go? 2,000, 5,000? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. So you need to shift your mindset on some of these things. I get a lot of questions about these basic investment things. Man, you've been doing it a long time. How do you deal with the dips? I ignore them. How do I deal with the dips? I go bass fishing. I could care less. Okay. How do I deal with the dips? I go hang out with my kids. I watch a movie. How do I deal with the dips? I go shoot guns in the mountains. I could care less. I don't deal with the dips. I don't even think about the dips. Oh, my portfolio lost $2 million. Who cares? I couldn't imagine caring. Because then the next month and the next year, up, down, all around. But I know people who spend their entire life looking at their portfolio, their 401k, their bonds, the value of their house. The value of your house, who cares? Irrelevant. Go live a life. So that's the fact with these things. Anyway, I can get going on this for endless time, which I don't want to do. But that's, when it comes to these digital ideas, they're no more talk. I've had a lot of people in my comments over the last few years like, oh man, you're always selling doom and gloom. No, I'm actually more even keeled than 98% of people in this. There unfortunately is a lot of doom and gloom, and I'm just way ahead 90% of the time. I was talking about, I got videos on my channel from 2020 talking about the Fed coin. Now it's happening 5 years later. I was just ahead. Now it's a trendy topic. Ooh, I was way ahead. Okay, that's the difference. I was talking about digital IDs that are getting ready to come 2-3 years ago. Now they're here. And it's not some random faraway Myanmar. No, it's the United Kingdom. You ever heard of it? One of the prominent countries in the world, right? This isn't some faraway land. And soon you're going to see Canada announce it. Right now they're trying to act like, no, we have no plans. Of course you have plans. UK's rolling in. Then, and behind the scenes, everyone's already talking about what Canada's getting ready to do. But that goofball running Canada, whatever his name is, Carney, he doesn't want to talk about that right now because he doesn't want to shake up what he's currently doing with these trade deals that are going to bankrupt Canada. But UK, Australia is rolling in. New Zealand is a wild card. I will say New Zealand's a wild card. I've heard it could go both ways in New Zealand. But Australia is a guarantee next year. Canada's a guarantee. Canada's maybe the worst country in the world right now. And I mean that quite literally. I feel bad for Canadians, but I'm also confused why Canadians haven't revolted. They have ruined Canada completely, full stop, 100%. I mean, just all of the worst things seem to be Canada. Endless immigration, no freedoms, no rights, no laws. They're trying to set it up where you can't take your money out of there. Your taxes are a joke. You're told you have this healthcare system that no one seems to ever get. I've never met a Canadian in the last 10 years. And Canadian is one of my biggest client groups. I've never met a Canadian in the last 10 years who hasn't come to the United States to get medical procedures because you guys have to wait 6, 8, 10, 12, 30 months. I'm not saying it's not cool what you have, but it's so messed up. I'm not saying our system's great either. I want to be perfectly clear. I'm not trying to act like the United States is the greatest. But the fact is, we do have a level of freedoms. Canada, man, they have just killed that country. And it's sad to see because, you know, a lot of great people, Canada's like everyone else. They got great people. They got crappy people. But a lot of great people up there. But, man, you guys have wrecked that place. And you guys aren't even standing up. I would imagine you would have brought that government down brick by brick. Nothing, not a singular thing. That is crazy to me. But I'm not a Canadian, so I can't tell you. I don't know anything about it. I guess that's your guys' deal. I wish you guys the absolute best. I hope, I hope it works out good for you. I mean, that's kind of crazy. But anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to be going more in depth in some of these topics. Now that we have this set up here, we're going to be really breaking things down the next 6 months. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on a lot of these topics. I'm also going to do some videos out there in the streets. We'll be doing some of that as well, but we're going to be doing a lot more on these topics, breaking some of these down. I'm going to be doing some tutorials like I used to do. I get a lot of requests for the old school tutorials. I also get a lot of requests for some of the old school tier list videos. I've made a couple. I made 1 or 2 recently, but yeah, I'm going to do some more of those. A lot has been changing in privacy technology. Also, we're seeing a lot of craziness happen in the world of, well, not just privacy, but in the world of digital security and quantum computing and how these things are going to roll out with these advanced AI machines and these robotic machines. And so, we're going to be talking a lot about that. But man, it's just all happening. It's just crazy to see it all happening. And, on one hand, I can say, well, I'm glad I set up myself years ago. I'm glad all my clients are set up or in the process of being set up. They will be inevitably. But that's nothing because millions and millions of people are going to suffer greatly. And they're just going to stand there with their heads in the sand and they're going to assume that it's all going to be great and they're just going to get destroyed. Kind of like the people in Thailand. I mean, people in Thailand, you don't see it on the Western media, but people in Thailand are sheer panic. They're losing everything. There's, things on fire, riots, all this stuff. But the reality is, Western media will just lie about it, and they're just taking everyone's money. Forget a bank run. That's not a bank run. It's a complete and utter seizure of everything in Vietnam and in Thailand, and it's going to just start rolling out everywhere. You're going to see bank runs. We're going to see bank runs in short order in Canada. Canada's going broke, and eventually we're going to see them in UK. UK is going to be a little longer on the bank runs, a little short. This is what I'm saying. Every country has its own issues. United States, the social credit score. Every country has its own issues. That's why getting outside of the system is so important. It is crazy what's happening. Anyway, you guys have an amazing day. I'll see you soon. Make sure you check in back on this channel at least once a week because you're probably not going to get notifications ever because they suppress my videos at a level that's just a joke at this point. I get people all the time like, hey, man, I never see your videos ever again. And then I went back and checked and, I missed them all. Yeah, 100% of people because they're never going to show them to anybody. But check back like once a week. I'm going to try to make a couple of videos a week, 1 or 2 realistically. I'm not going to be... but 1 or 2 is kind of what we'll be doing because we're working on a lot of big projects. We got a lot of cool stuff we're working on. Finally kind of getting back at it after a lot of the really bad stuff happened recently. But we got dealt with most of that and we'll be moving that forward. So anyway, we'll see you guys in the next video.